Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into character creation. You can see here that I have my command prompt window pulled up. Now, if you've already downloaded and installed one of the MUD clients, feel free to follow along in that. Otherwise, if you just want to jump right into the game and start adventuring without downloading and installing anything, this is the route to go. So this is going to be the process if you're on a PC. If you're on a Mac, then you're going to have to use a terminal window. Now to pull this up on a PC, all you got to do is go to Start, Run, or Search and type in cmd.exe. Just like that, and then either click on the icon or hit enter, and that should pull up this window. If you're not sure how to pull up the terminal window on a Mac, just do a quick Google search. It's a couple of quick easy steps and you should be looking at something similar to this. So once you have this window popped up, all we got to do then is go ahead and connect to the game, and to do that we're going to go ahead and type in telnet.mud.arctic.org. Go ahead and hit space and then specify the port, which is port 2700. Go ahead and hit enter, and just like that we are connected to the game. So you can see here this is the welcome screen, welcome to Arctic. Now if you already had a character created, you could go ahead and enter that and enter the game. However, since we are new, we're going to be typing in start and creating a new character. So go ahead and type in start and hit enter. Now, make sure you spend a couple of minutes reading this first paragraph. This has to do with the naming requirements for your character. Basically, you're going to want to, if you're like me, I usually put a little bit of thought into my character names, so this usually isn't a problem, but essentially you want to make sure you're picking a name that's appropriate to the setting. So no funny names like I am a newbie, or names like Superman, Judge Dredd, stuff like that. So I think we're actually going to go with, I'm going to go with the name Prothal. One, because it's a cool name, and two, because that is the name that I was using the first time that I player killed Tim, and it's kind of what started off our online friendship and how we got to know each other. So that's the name that I'm going to go ahead and pick. Hit enter. It's going to ask you if you got that name right. Go ahead and say yes. Next, you're going to go ahead and specify a password. Just make sure you enter in something that you're going to be able to remember. Go ahead and verify that. Next, it's going to ask you if you're new to Arctic. Now, this is an important question. If you're new, make sure you hit yes here. I'm actually going to select no, but by entering yes, what that does is it makes your start location default to Solus, which is what I recommend anyways as a good starting point. And it's also going to make sure that you start the game with a guide who is going to basically be kind of your mentor. It's going to walk you through some of the commands, tell you where to go, that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to run through the guide process because I think that that's something that if you're interested in the game, you should definitely check out and do yourself. So if you're new, make sure you hit yes here. Next off, it's going to ask us if our character is going to be a male or female. Prothal was a male. I think that's what Prothal originally was. That's what he's going to be this time. Next up, what kind of guild or class or job is Prothal going to have? I'm going to make Prothal a warrior because I want you to be able to see all of the different race options that are available. And depending on the class that you pick, you may see different options for the race, which is the next piece coming up. So we're going to say warrior. I'm just going to give a quick rundown of what each one of these are. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever played any fantasy or RPG game, you've probably come across these. But cleric that's going to be your primary healer class. Your job is keeping the party alive, even if that means sacrificing yourself. Druid is kind of a support class. They also do have healing spells and some very good healing spells. But the most important spell, in my opinion, for a Druid is Refresh. If you are in a group, they're going to want you to have Refresh memorized so that way you can get from point A to point B as quickly as possible with as minimal downtime. So that's kind of one of the Druid's main roles, is casting Refresh. Warrior, that's going to be your a tank class. Not usually the primary tank unless they have to be. Usually what a warrior is there to do is bash things. They are the only class that has the bash skill. So you're going to want a warrior to keep spellcasters on the floor so they can't get up and heal themselves or cast offensive spells on you or the party members. Paladin and Dark Knight, they are both tanky classes, but also spellcasters. They also get cool charmies, like the Dark Knight gets a dragon. I think Paladin also gets a dragon. It's been a while since I've played a Paladin. I'm kind of a Dark Knight junkie, but these are both tank type classes and really good solo classes as well. If you aren't starting with some friends and you want to kind of just try it out solo, I would recommend one of these two classes here to start out with. Thief is next, and Thief is going to be, I mean, a lot of times you have a Thief there for damage and also to pick locks and disable traps. If you're in a zone that has a trap that needs to be disabled in order to actually get the loot or get the treasure, you're gonna need a Thief with the party. They're also a fun solo class just for sneaking, hiding, and backstabbing. So that's some of the skills that are in the Thief arsenal. Barbarian, they are straight up tank. If you're playing a Barbarian and you're not the main tank, there's something's going on. I don't usually, I guess I can't really think of an instance where a Barbarian wasn't the main tank if they were in the party. They tend to have the most hit points, a lot of good skills that they have that are centered around tanking. So that's a lot of the times what you're going to be doing if you're a Barbarian. That and rescuing anybody else that's getting attacked. So if you're the Barbarian, you're pretty much always the one getting hit, and you're also going to be the one that dies first, most likely, if the cleric falls asleep. So just keep that in mind. Magic user is essentially a mage, and from level 1 to 10, you are considered just a magic user, which is a basic Bob mage. That essentially means you haven't picked your path or your alignment yet, even though you select an alignment. Going through the character creation process. So if you're familiar with the lore of Dragonlance, you know that there's 3 moons. That is Solinari, the white moon, Lunitari, the red moon, and Nuitari, the black moon. And that basically has to do with your alignment. Good, neutral, and evil. So once you hit level 10, you can go to the test to take the tower, just like Raceland. If you pass your tests, you get to pick your path. And that'll be the color of your robes. The Scout is the one class that actually has, they can use ranged weapons, so you'll get to use bow and arrows, and there are some different paths that Scouts can take. There's like a Mountain Scout, Ocean Scout, so you aren't just, when you go with the Scout, you aren't just a Scout. There's some different trees to branch off of and take. And then last but not least is the shaman. I like to group them in the, they're basically, they kind of fit into the same grouping as the cleric, druid, and shaman, which is a healing / support class. So that's the quick rundown. We are going to go ahead and choose the warrior because, like I said, I want you to see all the different race options that are available. So you can see here there's 12 different races. There are actually 2 here that aren't listed that are considered exotic races that you can unlock later, and that is the Darganesti and Gully Dwarf. So I'm not going to run through each one of these, but I highly recommend before you go through the character creation process, checking out ArcticMUD.org and looking at the races and classes because they each have different, there's different key attributes that the different races have. So, and different racial bonuses as well. So check that out. I think for Prothal being a warrior, I want you to also be able to see all the alignments that are available. So we're going to go just straight human because it is the least restrictive. So we're going to go ahead and say 4 here. And that's going to get us into our stats. So what this is asking us is to pick a primary stat. So this is kind of like when you're rolling a character in D&D. Obviously, you roll your dice, you get your numbers, and you pick which stat you want that specific role to be assigned to. That's kind of the same idea here, except for you only get to pick one. All the rest of and even that one that you pick, it's all randomly rolled. And you don't get to see your stats until you hit level 3 and either get a Scroll of Legend lore or drink a Potion of Knowledge. I would recommend the potion, they're much cheaper. But anyways, so your stats are hidden to you, but you get to pick your primary stat. Now, since I am a warrior, I'm either going to pick Strength or Constitution. Strength, let's just run through these real quick. So Strength kind of has to do with how hard you hit. as well as kind of like how heavy, being a warrior, how heavy of a primary weapon I can have or wield, as well as how heavy of a secondary weapon I can offhand. So that's where kind of strength comes in. There's going to be other stuff associated with these, but I'm just going to kind of focus on what I think is the main component of each stat. So intelligence, that is really important for any mage or magic user. It's really important for all spellcasters because it's how quickly you can memorize your spells after you've used them, which we'll go over in another video. But it's especially important to a mage because they have a set amount of spells. So other classes that cast spells depend more on wisdom. It's how many spell slots they can cast before they need to rest again. Where mages, you only get so many spells, you memorize them as quick as you can so you can get back to using them. It also has to do with how likely it is that you're going to learn new spells, either when you level up or when you get like a spell book or a tablet or a charm, stuff like that. Wisdom, as I already alluded to, that has to do with how many spell slots you have. Our connection timed out. We'll reconnect here in a second. That's because I'm talking too much. So wisdom, that has to do with, again, how many spell slots you have. Dexterity, that has to do with kind of like how nimble you are, how easy you are to bash. If you're a thief, a lot of your skills depend on dexterity. So that's usually the primary stat that I pick when I go the thief route. Constitution is important for any tank class. It's kind of one of those stats that's important to everything because it has to do with how many hit points you get. You want to have as many hit points as possible so you're not squishy. And then charisma, that is the kind of the primary stat for the shaman. I know it does play into the other ones, but it's really the most important stat for the shaman. So let me go ahead and just reconnect real quick here. I think we're going to probably pick, we'll pick con as our primary stat. All right, so we're reconnected. Let's go ahead and pick Constitution as our main stat. Hit enter. And next up, we are looking at alignments. So as you can see, there's 10 different options here. And really where alignment comes into play, it has to do with what kind of monsters you can kill in the game to get experience, and then how much experience you get. So for example, let's just say that we are a good character. Now, if we're a good character and we're killing other good characters, we're either going to lose experience or gain very minimal experience. So if you're good, you want to be slaying monsters on the opposite end of the spectrum and going for evil monsters. That's what's going to yield you the most experience. Now, if you're not sure, obviously you're starting out, you're not sure where the good monsters and the evil monsters are, then you could always go with the neutral option. Now, I like to pick neutral lawful as kind of the down the center of the road. So you don't really sway towards good or evil, and you tend to be lawful. That's the one that I like to pick if I just want to make sure that I'm getting experience points for anything and everything. So there are some other, it does come into play a little bit more. It used to be a big thing for Dark Knights to make sure that you were evil lawful, just so you could get some of the Dark Knight quests once you hit level 25. I think that now you have to actually pick evil lawful, so it's not as big of an issue. But there is stuff like that does come into play. But go ahead and just kind of research those. We're going to say, let's go right down the middle of the road and go with number 6. We'll say neutral lawful. We're almost done here, so we're nearing the end. It's going to ask you if this line is in color. That is red, so yes it is. Go ahead and hit Y. Make sure you put in a valid email address. That is important to do. It's also how you'll receive updates. So if anything is going on with the game, you can get an update there if you need to. And then after you've entered that, just again, if you're new, I would recommend going through and reading all of this information. It's all good, important information that I'm not going to read to you right now. So check that out once you log in the first time. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter here down to the bottom. This right here is the Discord channel, so if you want to get on there, if you need any help with anything, be sure to check that out. A lot of very knowledgeable people on there that are more than happy to help you out. And then as you can see, we're kind of at the option here where we can enter the game. So we got 5 different options here. I'm not actually going to enter the game right this second because we're going to save that for the next video where we enter the game, pick our town, and then kind of look at some of our information about our player as well as hit the guild master. So you can see here the options are to leave Arctic. So if you want to go ahead and do that, excuse me, if you don't want to log in right now, go ahead and select that. Obviously, one is enter the game. We can change the description of our character, change our password, and then delete this character. Now, if you try to delete your character, you'll see that you actually cannot do that until you're level 2, or you have to be at least 7 days old to delete yourself. So if you want to use that name, you're gonna have to do it the hard way and level up to level 2, or wait 7 days if you have if for some reason you want to delete your character. So we're going to actually go ahead and end this right now. I'm going to leave Arctic. And yeah, be sure to check out the next video where we actually log in and start doing some stuff. So as always, thank you for watching. Make sure if you have any questions at all, you drop it down there in the comments. I am usually pretty quick at responding to my viewers. So yeah, I don't want you to get frustrated trying to figure something out. Just ping me down below and let me know if you're having trouble figuring something out. As always, thank you for watching, and never quit gaming. Till next time.